everybody. This is Amazing Fantasy Football. I am Josh, and over there is the Harvey Dent to my Two-Face.
Chris.
Yep, and that's right. We are actually the same person, and he's just a different personality of mine. It's quite the technological feat that I have going on here. That I'm portraying my alternate personality being in a different room.
Oh no, that was
well, I mean, it's all recorded, so I could technically record myself this way, and then record my alter ego somewhere. Anyways, this is getting really confusing in my very tired brain. How are you doing tonight, Chris?
I'm good. I'm a little tired myself, but excited about some of this big news we're going to get to real quick. Some of the fantasy implications. And yeah.
Yep. As Chris alluded to, we have some news. We weren't going to do a show this week, but we decided with all the big breaking news, doing a hopefully short show this week will take some pressure off of the big free agency news next week. I'm not sure if any of them's going to top the Noah Fant trade, but whatever. That's how I've been referring it to, and everyone's like, "What? Who?"
You read the Noah Fant trade?
Yeah, Noah Fant, tight end, former Iowa Hawkeye tight end, got traded from the Broncos to the Seahawks. No. Anyways,
talk about burying the lead.
Are you gonna take the reins here on this this episode, and I'll just sit back and in quiet contemplation about what you're saying, and you'll never hear from me ever again.
I finally get what I want. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to go down
into the ether.
I'm going to go down kind of a relatively short list of some big happenings here. We'll start with the big guns here, the quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers agrees to a 4-year extension. Excuse me, worth $200 million. So you're talking $50 million per year. So there's a few of those in the league
average.
Now. On average, yeah. I'm just ballparking also.
Yeah, and it's all kind of backloaded, so it's like the Packers are. Oh wait, I was supposed to never say anything ever again. The Packers are getting Rodgers cheaper this year and next year, I think it is, and then hoping that they win a Super Bowl in that time, and then they're going to be in salary cap hell. And if Aaron Rodgers wants to keep playing for them, they'll probably keep pushing that money back as long as they can.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Like the Saints did with Drew Brees, like the Eagles did with pretty much all their players, and are currently still, I think, in salary cap hell. And they might have climbed out of it now, but yeah.
Yeah, it ain't good.
I'm sorry. Keep going, man.
Just real quick to mention in related news before you or I get any more into the fantasy implications.
I won the lottery?
No. Davante Adams was franchise tagged in related news. I'm sure they're going to say they're still working on a long-term deal, and I'm sure they are.
No, they're not. I bet they're not.
I'm sure they are. Whether they can get it done or not, that's another thing entirely. Like you said, with the Rodgers contract. So as far as fantasy, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of more of what we got.
More than the same.
Yeah, exactly. More of the same. It's a good feeling in terms of a Davante Adams dynasty manager. You've got some security for one more year. Rodgers will be there if you got other Packers pieces. While I'm touching on that, a little birdie told me that Aaron Jones is all but gone next year.
After this year?
Yep. After 2022.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
I think he has a year, but what they can gain,
he has 2 more years left, I believe.
What they can gain by cutting him it's a no-brainer. So
yeah, and they still have not Eddie Lacy, but the new Eddie Lacy,
AJ Dillon.
Thank you.
Did you forget his name? I was like, I
don't know. I got Eddie Lacy stuck in my head, and I couldn't get it out.
Yeah. Touching.
Quadzilla.
Going back to last week's show, I think it was. Put your feelers out there for the dynasty owner manager of AJ Dillon. A hard runner, can catch the ball surprisingly well for a big guy. But again, just with the Rodgers and the Davante Adams news, it's just a fantasy goldmine there in Green Bay. So Rodgers is staying put. A quarterback that's not staying put is Russell Wilson. He was actually traded to the Broncos. not yet technically, but they've agreed in terms once the new year league year
Even
rolls
green in
over.
principle. Yeah.
Exactly. To a 4-year, $200 million extension of his own. The goods in the trades were given up: 2 firsts, 2 seconds.
Excuse me, what?
The
Sorry. I'm
picks.
sorry, I misheard you.
That's okay. The picks and the players given up for Wilson, etc. The trade itself. Denver gives up 2 firsts, 2 seconds, a 5th. Drew Lock, defensive lineman Shelby
and a
Harris,
partridge and a pear tree.
It's funny. The one update whatever first article I put up or tweet or whatever it was didn't have Fant. I was like, well, I know Fant went, so I guess it was Shelby Harris and Fant for Wilson and a 4th for Russell Wilson and a 4th. So my thought immediately goes to the Broncos. Speaking of fantasy gold mines and dynasty assets, you've got your Jerry Jeudy's. I think he's going to benefit a lot. I think he's going to be your Lockett-esque type player. I know he's not a speedster of Lockett's caliber, but he's a route runner. He gets separation. He'll be very savvy on the, what do they call it, the backyard football, the scramble drill. The scramble drill when Russell improvises behind the line of scrimmage and buys time. Javonte Williams is just, I'm going to be very high on Javonte. Let's just put it that way. I think it does wonders for him. And they got the defense to give Wilson opportunities. And I would think within the terms of Wilson agreeing where to go, he was like, I want them to let me cook a little bit. I want them to let me throw a little bit more. But they do have a great.
You think they're going to though? This is my only.
I don't know.
Concern about
it's hard to
trade.
say. I mean, it's a defensive coach still, right? Isn't it still Fangio? Or...
Yeah, no, it's not him anymore.
That's right.
It's,
my bad.
Is it Nathaniel Hackett?
Yeah, I think so.
I believe it is. Anyways, they wanted, and that's an offensive coach, I believe.
It is. Green Bay.
Anyways, but I believe they wanted a guy that was going to, maybe he's the OC. I think he's the OC. Yeah. They wanted a head coach / offense coordinator that was going to push the ball down the field like they weren't doing last year at all. And my only concern is if that defense is good enough, what if they don't need to throw the ball? I don't know if the defense is that elite, but possibly.
The Green Bay offense definitely throws its fair share. And very efficient with
the Green Bay defense wasn't all that in a bag of chips last year either, so
no, but the year before they were.
Saying.
Year before they were.
True.
I don't know. What do you Sutton?
Okay, so where are you at? Jerry Jeudy's versus Courtland Sutton. What side are you on?
I think Judy's the one you want. Gosh, I don't know, man.
You think he's the hotness?
Well, Sutton's your looks the part. Sutton's your prototypical body size, speed, number 1 outside guy. But I just think Judy's going to mesh better. I think Judy's can maybe still be gotten kind of cheap, although everybody's high on him, it seems like. So it's like, but he hasn't really done anything. It's just everybody believes in his talent coming out of school. He's been banged up a little bit. So
I think this like is going to be his sophomore season.
I thought this past season was his sophomore season. Am I mistaken? I might be mistaken.
I don't know. You're right. You're right. I'm looking at it right here.
Okay.
No, that's not right.
Okay.
That says Russell Wilson. Sorry.
Okay. But that's more or less, I think the tight end is a question mark in Denver for Albert O, they call him. I forget his name. I didn't jot that down.
I'm not going to even try and pronounce it, even if it was sitting in front of me.
So there's some sleeper potential there, but other than that, I'm going to wait and see on him. I think it's just, again, I go back to the Javonte Williams and whoever else they might put at running back. If Gordon sticks around, then the 2 receivers.
Hopefully
and
not.
Russell himself, I think, I think they'd be a good fantasy
I think
offense.
you're bearing the lead on Tim Patrick, too, man. Tim Patrick was a pretty solid
That's fair.
wide receiver for the Broncos last couple of seasons, really, when he's needed to fill in. So, I mean, he'll be there like 3-ish. And I don't know if we need to really worry. I'm sure this Albert O guy, if that's the guy they're going to keep rolling with, I'm sure that he's going to flash here and there and have his games. But I don't know if he's going to be an every week starter. I really doubt it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, no, I was
thinking as far as
wait and see dart throw kind of guy. Go ahead.
Were you did you say you were on Team Sutton then?
No,
For
I think
Judy versus
I'm,
Sutton?
I'm on Team Judy. I'm on Team Judy. I can't blame
I'm on,
folks for
I'm on
taking.
Team Sutton.
I can't. Yeah, I can't blame folks for taking the what would appear to be the more fitting guy. You know, again, the bigger guy, the outside guy.
They could easily. The answer could easily be both too.
I mean,
So,
and Wilson
you know,
has supported both Lockett and DK at times.
DK Metcalf.
Yeah,
but
it always
but
seemed to
never
fizzle
usually in
out.
the same game. Also in a different
Yeah.
system. It's hard to say what's going to happen
Different
here.
system. That's
So
true. That's true. But I mean, I think you can still look forward to both receivers being good. I will take Team Judy and again Javonte. I'm very high on him.
I will take. Actually, my stance is
Seattle,
I will
mean-
take, not to ride the fence. I will take the cheapest one in their draft. How
There you
about that?
There you go. The
In
class,
Dynasty, I have Judy, so I'll just be Team Judy in that case. But you
Yeah.
know,
right?
I was also an adopter of a previously existing team. So you know, whatever.
Correct. As far as Seattle side, I mean, it's not a whole lot to talk about. A lot of negative stuff. I think it's gonna, low tides. Sink
Everyone for
ships
Denver,
or
arrow
something.
pointing up. Everyone for Seattle, arrow pointing way down.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I just can't see either receiver.
I
continuing to do what
highly
they've
doubt
done.
that Seattle's going to roll with Drew Lock next year as their quarterback.
Yeah, they're in rebuild mode.
Like
and the defense
they'll
was already historically
probably-
bad.
yeah, but they're probably going to look at a quarterback either on free agency or the draft, but most likely the draft. And so Drew Lock isn't going to be their only quarterback. But I mean, I think DK Metcalf's good enough to overcome Drew Lock and still have some fantasy relevance. I don't know about Tyler Lockett. What do you think there?
If it's Lock or whatever else they can get, I don't think it's going to be a veteran. I think they're in complete rebuild. So it could be a young guy, it could be a rookie. It's going to be bad. If you can get DK for a song, sure, I guess that was the guy I'll take. But I don't think either guy is going to be what they were for a couple.
You have to be
seasons,
crying in
maybe.
your beer if you have DK Metcalf
if they
in Dynasty.
I mean, if they hit a Tom Brady-esque type pick, and sure, then it could turn around real quick. But I don't think that's going to happen. Not this season.
I don't think there's a Tom Brady kind of guy in this draft either.
Exactly. Well, we didn't think that about
I
Brady
think,
either.
honestly, and here's my prediction. I predict that they're going to move DK Metcalf as well.
I was going to say you should probably move one of the receivers. I don't know the contract comparisons. I don't.
Lockett's on his second contract, so he's obviously way
he's
more
getting
expensive
paid.
one.
He's getting paid.
You're not paying a quarterback right now, so you're paying a quarterback next to nothing. So you can afford anything right now.
Yeah, but
as a team,
get something for him, type of thing. But yeah, arrows down.
You're gonna get more for DK than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
You could probably get another first for him.
Yeah. On to the next quarterback in the news. Deshaun Watson will not face criminal charges. I don't want to linger on this topic too much in the legal manner of speaking, but just to remind folks at home, he'll still face civil suits, upwards of 22 women or whatever it was, and of course, suspension. I did hear a little bit today that gave me a little bit of confirmation that they reminded us of a couple other cases that were very similar in that there was not enough evidence to go to court, and the criminal charges there weren't no criminal charges. They were dismissed. Zeke and Big Ben, even further back, both served 6 games. So if you're talking about dynasty implications, if you're talking about fantasy implications, football and NFL implications, now you have some numbers to probably work with. But in terms of all that other stuff, again, I don't want to get into that. So I think it's just another news cycle for another couple weeks, man. I heard somebody of reliable source say that they think it's probably going to happen in the next week or two.
It's apparently the Panthers are the ones that are the team now that are putting together a aggressive trade package for Watson. Which, if it's only 6 games and you get him under contract for the next, what was it, like 3 years at least? You're paying him an arm and a leg, but I would highly doubt that they're gonna give up CMC for Watson, but hard to say, man.
I think I'd walk away if I was Carolina from the table if the Texans made that a deal breaker.
I don't know, man. It's all rumors until I forgot about the Roethlisberger and Zeke stuff in the 6 games. So NFL keeping along that trend, and who knows, the NFL might just say, "Hey, you didn't play at all last season. Your team refused to play you." They might just call it time served as well.
Yeah, I think we discussed that once or twice. Yeah,
They might. I hope they don't,
but
because this
but
guy
I
needs
think
to be
both
penalized somehow.
agreed. But I also think both me and you in fantasy terms are going to move forward, expecting the worst, hoping for the best. Just assume he's going to get about 6 games.
Honestly, what could happen is his suspension might not even be this year. It might be next, because of the lack of legal evidence or whatever. They're probably going to let all the civil suits play out and to see what comes of that, and let the NFL or NFL just lets the court system kind of figure it out, and then they'll go from there. So it could be another year.
That would be odd. I think not, but we'll see.
I don't think so either, but we'll see.
And then also, in terms of the first couple guys we've already talked about, there's been some openings that have closed. I think Denver, again, I've said this 2 or 3 times. It's very similar to Tampa a couple years ago with Brady. They were just kind of ready-made, slot in a high-caliber talent quarterback with that defense, and this is a defense that got rid of Von Miller, and there's rumors they might get him back because Von Miller's might be on the move again. Anyway, so Watson. We said Carolina. I mean, where else are we talking
speculation. About? Let's maybe keep the ball rolling here.
Okay.
To some actual news.
More trades. We've got Carson Wentz traded to the Washington Football Commanders. That's right. That's what I'm going to call them. No, I'm just kidding.
They're commanding the footballs.
I put a question mark on this because I didn't have
Schwab the poop ball.
Right. I didn't have time to look up the terms of the trade itself. I think it was for 2/3.
I have it.
Thank you.
Want me to take it away? The Commanders are swapping second-round picks with the Colts this year, and then they're giving up their third-round pick next year, or they're giving away their third-round pick this year, and their third-round pick next year, which could become a second if Carson Wentz plays more than 70% of the Commanders' snaps in 2022. Does that sound familiar? It sure does. Yeah. Only it's for a third, potentially second, not a second, potentially first. Good job, Colts. They got what I'm sure they got what they could, and they got rid of his contract. So
exactly. Yep.
And I think that there was, just from everything that I've been kind of like hearing, some whispering from the bushes, as you said, just some stuff I've been reading, is that there was some behind the scenes stuff that it sounds like Wentz really pissing people off, like in the locker room and not on the field. Yeah. Anyways, so I guess the main question is, what does this do for the Colts? Well, they're probably going to spend some money. Honestly, I'm still hoping for Ryan Fitzpatrick for the Colts. That's my own.
I think it's Jimmy G. I think it's a real possibility. I don't think they should trade for Jim. I think they need to keep whatever draft picks they have and build. I think they see Jimmy G very similar to how they saw Wentz last year and even Rivers before. Rivers at the end of his career, to be clear. I'm not saying Jimmy G is Rivers or is as good as Rivers, etc. In fact, Rivers probably had a little more success, if I recall. So I think they're just fine kicking that can down the road and keep rent a QB, I really think they are. I think they're.
Wish they wouldn't, but yeah.
Until things work out fortuitously, where they aren't competing fortuitously. If things work out in such that they're not competing for the playoffs and their own pick is higher, then maybe they can reach up for a QB that can solve it. So the two names I keep hearing are the obvious ones: Jimmy G and Andrew Luck. And I don't think the second one's going to happen. I don't. Last time I saw him,
I hope that they either get Jameis Winston or they get Ryan Fitzpatrick, and then they maybe like take a gamble on a quarterback in the second or third round as a developmental project or whatever. The team really likes this Sam Ellinger or whatever from Texas that they got in last year's draft. I don't know if he is really all that, but they might see him as a developmental thing, and maybe whoever we get this year is the bridge to this Sam Ellinger guy or whatever his name is. Let's flip over to the Commanders side here, because there's a lot more. Until the Colts get a quarterback, it's all speculation. What we don't have speculation on, and we have facts, is that Wentz is now playing for the Washington Football Team / Commanders. Honestly, I think this is a big help for Terry McLaurin. You know, like he was terrible
Mhm.
this past season
Well,
with
when
whoever that guy was, Tatum
Tatum Hooligan,
Hansen,
Tatum Hooligan.
Hooligan.
Uh,
Okay, okay.
he's an
Anyways,
upgrade. Yeah, Wentz is an upgrade for sure.
I mean, Wentz made a top 24, 18, whatever Michael Pittman ended up being, and I think that Terry McLaurin is a lot more talent than Michael Pittman does. Different play styles, don't get me wrong,
Sure.
but I mean, if you're taking a Pittman who is not exactly the most physically talented wide receiver,
Mhm.
um, more of a technician than a physical talent, whereas Terry McLaurin is more of a physical talent and maybe not quite the technician
Speed
that.
too. I think.
Anyways,
Yeah, McLaurin's got
I think
speed
it
too. I
helps. I
believe.
think it helps
Yeah.
McLaurin. I think it helps Antonio Gibson. Obviously, Wentz has some history of throwing to the running back. Whether the Washington whatever's want to actually use Antonio Gibson as a receiver, well, we'll see about that. But
hmm
who knows?
Well, it depends on how you look at it
Um,
because Gibson, because they had McKissick for that role, he got hurt, and so Gibson actually did see a little bit of a boon, not like we'd hoped, but Gibson also gets hurt a lot. Like maybe having a second guy
yeah,
isn't such a bad thing for the fantasy managers of Antonio Gibson, is what I'm saying. But yeah, I think you're on the right
another
track.
and Melvin Gordon, another name that could be good. That could be
Well,
heading
more of
there.
a catcher of the foot. Well, again, we want Gibson to catch the ball, but yeah, I think he needs to take breathers. Gordon would be
Yep,
fine.
yep,
Yeah,
yep,
I
yep,
don't
yep.
disagree with you. Is that what you got
Uh,
about Washington, more or less? Just kind of a arrow up
yeah,
on the pass
I'm trying to
options.
think if there's anything, if there's really anyone else. Like, I mean, still don't. I'm not sleeping on Curtis Samuel next year. I know he's just kind of a post hype sleeper sort of guy, but which I hate that phrase by the way. I don't know why. I just don't like it. Um,
hmm hmm
there's something jilted with that phrase. But yeah, I wouldn't sleep on Curtis Samuel either. You know, like
Did they
I think
retain
that
Logan Thomas?
I
Wentz will
think
use a
Wentz
tight
behind the
end.
scenes problems aside
hmm
was kind of dealt a bad deck of cards in Indy because they got their quarterback, but they didn't do anything to give him any sort of receiving weapons other than Pittman. They
hmm
brought back an aging T.Y. Hilton. Woo, Paris Campbell would never saw the field or
Well,
rarely saw the field. They didn't do anything really to give weapons to Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is
I
going to
mean,
a team that
I think
has some
he had
weapons.
the best running back in the league. You know, I think the detractors will say Wentz had his opportunities, including the end of last year when he had the most red hot running back in the league. And Pittman was playing well too, and so was Wentz. And then the last 2 weeks was just they fell apart. So whatever happened with that
And
two
it wasn't
weeks,
all Wentz's fault either.
that's true. But
Trust me, dude. I'm a Colts fan.
yeah, the defense didn't play well. I guess first and foremost, that's usually a staple that you can rely on in Indy lately. So yeah, it's not all his fault. I
Anyways,
just think again when you couple his on-field performance, the 2 week collapse, and these rumors of whatever rubbing folks the wrong
him being
way,
an asshat.
yeah, you know, I don't know, and I think it's probably arrow up for McLaurin, but and he's absolutely an upgrade over Taylor Heineke. Yep, that guy. Taylor Heineke, whatever his name is. Pardon me, sir. It's a joke. But beyond, I guess Gibson, if I could just get just more stability, more health, then I'm fine with those options. But I don't know. We'll wait and see what Wentz can do. He used to play in this division too, so there's that. Next on the
Yeah,
list,
revenge games aplenty for
yeah,
him.
that's true. Um, that's it for the quarterbacks that I've got here. The last bit of news I've got are all pass catchers, receivers to be specific. Mike Williams signs a 3-year, $60 million extension with $40 million guaranteed. Right off the top of the
Oh
bat,
my
when I
god.
read that, it was just like, arrow down for Josh Palmer. I guess whatever things stay the same for Keenan Allen, but that's a commitment to me. That's a big commitment to a guy who, yes, has flashed and has had real big touchdown upside, but has also disappeared. And I think again, health is a thing.
Completely.
Yeah, I think health is a thing there. But 3 years isn't the end of the world. You can get out from under that relatively easy. You know, if they can get production like they did for, what was it, the first half of last season, or first 4 or 5 weeks?
First 5 games.
5 games.
Games.
There you go. I said 4 or 5. I amended my statement.
I know. I'm just I'm just reiterating that. I'm not saying it against you. I'm saying like it was only 5 games, folks.
For sure.
That's not even a third of the season.
So just kind of more of the same, I guess. In I almost said San Diego, in LA, the Chargers, and that's another option taken off the free agency board. Other than that, I don't know what do you got on that? It kind of hurts the tight end. Yeah, exactly. Who's their tight end anyway? Cook.
Question mark.
Yeah, there you go. He's kind of like a tight end, if you ask me. On to a couple other pass catchers real quick. Chris Godwin was tagged. More the same again. Yeah. Mike Williams. Mike Evans is staying put. He's under big contract for a couple more years, I think. And then more trade news. Amari was traded to the Cleveland Browns. It's for a bag of peanuts. No. Amari and a sixth.
Or less.
Amari and a sixth for a fifth and a sixth. So they swap sixth and they get a fifth. So basically Amari for a fifth. It's like, okay. Basically it's a salary dump is what it is. And you can see that by watching the rest of Dallas's activity, such as cutting Blake Jarwin and Greg Zuerlein. We already knew last.
Leg.
Yeah, exactly. The guy who can make an extra point.
Legatron?
Yeah, he can make a 52-yarder, but not an extra point. So, we already knew Schultz got tagged. What I'm hearing is while he was tagged, they don't want him to necessarily play on the tag. They're still trying to work out a deal. Apparently, they liked what they saw last year. I think he was a pretty average guy that did great with a great situation. But hey, if you can lock up that position for 3 or 4 years, maybe that's the right move. It does help. Obviously, Schultz's.
I hope they learned their lesson from Blake Jarwin and didn't make it like a lucrative contract, or I don't remember what Jarwin's contract was, but it was not nothing.
Jarwin was pretty team friendly, dude, because they got him early, meaning they saw he hadn't done much in the eyes of the rest of the NFL yet, and they were like, here's this, maybe we can get you cheap for a couple years. It wasn't a big deal.
Then he got hurt again, like he almost always does, apparently.
Schultz is completely different because he had the entire year of production, and then of course the tag. So then obviously
the son of Charles Schultz.
Really? I don't know about that.
I made that up.
Okay, I thought so. And then of course, logically,
do you know who Charles Schultz is?
You've heard that they intend once in a year league. Yeah. No, I do not. No, I don't. I have no idea.
The artist and writer of the Peanuts comic strip.
Okay, sure, great. He's a good guy. So
he would have been like his grandfather at the best. Probably more like his great grandfather.
You're horrible. So Michael Gallup, what we're being told is they're waiting until the New Year league rolls over and they're working on a deal. They don't want to just let him walk. But hey, till then, obviously CeeDee Lamb is the only receiver only name receiver of note. Is Cedric Wilson up too? He might be also.
Yep. He's restricted, though.
They might try. Exactly. I was just going to say they might tender him. But I think
slap a second on.
I'm
if
hoping
anyone bites, and then
sure. I'm hoping it's Gallup. So you'd have Gallup and CD as the top 2 guys. A little bit of speculation there. Maybe they retain Wilson.
A little Dalton Schultz action in there too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Schultz has proven he could be a third option.
But if the Cowboys re-sign Gallup, he's probably not going to play for like the first 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah. So they need somebody. Yeah, they'll probably bargain basement hunt and maybe bring in a young guy. I don't know what receivers are going to be out there.
MVS is out there, not the greatest hands, but certainly a fast dude. Mm-hmm. Amari Cooper's out there, or not Amari Cooper. They just traded him away. Allen Robinson is who I was mentioning.
Okay. If he was willing to play,
Allen Robinson coming off a real dead of a year, maybe they could get him kind of cheap. They could kind of lure him in with a cheaper deal. Be like, come on, potential championship.
Well, I think that's what. Yeah. Well, Robinson's made his money, is what I'm saying. A player of his type that has floundered with lesser organizations, or however you want to put it, lesser quarterbacks, perhaps. May not be after the money. He may just be like, dude, I've already made money on a big contract, and I just want to win.
That's what I would do if I was down. And I'd be like, I got my payday. I want it. I want to get my
it's not like he's been putting up good stats. He can be, and the Cowboys can be like, hey, listen, we know you're not going to get a whole lot else out there offered. There's like opportunity to play here early in the season with Gallup not being back. If you can establish yourself and then Gallup gets back, you could be the third or 2.5 or 1, the 1B on the higher end of things. Yeah. So that's
I mean, Robinson could go to somewhere like Dallas that on a prove it deal and like hoping for a championship or even a deep playoff run at the very least, and to play with a good quarterback, prove that he's still got it, and looking for another payday too. I don't know, man. Do we have anyone else to talk about? I don't remember.
just
That's why I'm asking.
the Brown side of the Amari trade. I mean, I heard some comment today that
Let's go. Let's do that, and we can maybe circle back if we want to.
Sounds good. Just with the Browns, I heard a comment today that I thought hit the nail on the head. Is something along the lines of they're getting a receiver that has had more production than they've ever seen in the past several years with Jarvis and Beckham and whoever else they've had.
And the Browns gave Jarvis Landry. They okayed him to go look for a new deal too.
Oh, did they?
So
Okay. I had not heard that. Good.
Yeah, I just saw that before we started recording, like, I don't know, a couple hours ago.
And I tend to, and I think some of the hate's gone a little far on Amari. He would still put up 1,000 yards. Fantasy wise, I think he was just outside top 12, maybe. I don't recall. It's not important. I'm just saying, in NFL terms, he was still a productive receiver. It was just, again, salary. It's a salary dump, man. They can't pay that guy. And you know the reason? Obviously, Dak's contract, but there's another elephant in the room, Zeke's contract.
Wide receiver 27 last year, Amari Cooper.
Ooh.
Missed 2 games.
That was way off. My bad.
Remember, he was unvaxxed.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, you said maybe circle back around? That's all I've got?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, is there anything else that we need to cover on any of this? Like,
I don't think so. I don't have I had a web page up earlier. I was going down the list of news, but nothing else comes to mind. Sorry about craning my neck over here.
I mean, I'm just seeing a bunch of stuff about things, people restructuring contracts to save their team money. And here's something: Mike Williams was the wide receiver 10 last year, despite more or less disappearing for. Yeah, I mean, it was only 9 on the season, but I mean.
But like four came in one game or something like that, didn't it? 4 or 5.
He never had a game with more than 2. But
okay, my bad.
I mean, in his first 5 weeks, actually, there was only 4 games in the first 5 weeks that he was good. And there was a real dud of a game in there. Everyone's just like, oh, don't worry about it. And they had another big one, and then he just disappeared until week 11. He scored 18.2 points, disappeared, came back, and came strong at the end of the year too. If everyone forgets about that as well, but I
was gonna say, yeah,
I don't know, man.
I recall that.
Is he maybe like the new Tyler Lockett, where in a sense of not necessarily style or physique, but just he'll have a stretch, or it's just going to be boom bust games.
Yeah.
I personally I don't like boom bust players unless they're my wide receiver 3.
Yeah, if I have the choice any given week between this kind of high upside wide receiver that is boomy busty, and a RB3, or I'm just trying to piece together a lineup. Yeah, I like having a third guy, but you're not going to get Mike Williams as your third guy. Probably people are going to fall in love with that bit of production.
Those first 4 or 5 weeks, and
they're going to see the finish and. Yeah. Now, if he falls, absolutely, there's a right place to take him. I mean, we're not talking redraft here, so that's neither here nor there. But
I mean, if they weren't on the same team, Keenan Allen is the perfect kind of guy to pair with Mike Williams for your dynasty or for your fantasy roster. You got the stable with the boom bust. The stable helps, kind of iron out all the duds, and then the boom games to bring you up to win your weeks.
Well, I keep hearing this name brought up. Just to kind of get back to the QBs real quick. Nothing's happened, but Trubisky. Folks are thinking he's going to get a chance to start, mostly based on what's in the draft and just again some of these QB windows closing. Think about
the Colts don't do it.
Think about a Carolina if they don't get Watson. If something different happens with Watson, Carolina might be an upgrade for him. Colts. I mean, I guess you got to throw that out there. They do like to have a kind of a physical guy who can run a little. I'm not saying they're a freaking Lamar Jackson or anything, but they like to use Brissett a little bit that way. Brisket. Okay.
Brisket.
Yeah, that's
Anyways.
all I got, sir. Just unless you want me to.
All right, let's call it a day. We've been Amazing Fantasy Football. I have a new Twitter account that is barely done. I've done anything with other than follow some people, but you can check me out on Twitter at JoshAFFB.
I'll follow you.
And
we can
what's
follow
that?
each other. We can follow each other. The other AFFB.
Okay,
account.
we can follow each other off into the sunset. And next week we got free agency. You know, we're going to be talking about some free agency signings. This has been a shorter episode, hopefully. And yeah, next week probably not so short. So, because I'm sure the free agencies will be flying all over the place, and yeah, my phone will be going off constantly on Wednesday. So, yeah. Yeah.
We could cut up into 2 shows. Do them quick turnaround, quick edit, easy edit. Anyway, no seeing this discussion that here. Let's go. Good night, everybody.
So we've been Amazing Fantasy Football. Have a good night.
Ciao.
Day, morning, afternoon.